This is the new Echo CS-3510 chainsaw. You heard about us talking about this in another video or two, and this is a saw here that Echo put a lot of time into. When you look at it, you can see a similar resemblance to the CS-4510, and Echo claims that this saw has the best power to weight ratio of any of the saws in its class. So when you pick one up right away, you can tell this sucker is light. Now, this is replacing the old CS-352, and it's lighter than the CS-352, has a little bit more horsepower, and it's a slimmer design. So they narrowed this down, gave a little bit more power, made it lighter weight, and kept the price very similar to that CS-352. It was a great job by Echo's engineering department with this saw. Now, playing around with one, you pick it up, you look at it, it's got a lot of good features, and you can see here it's got the translucent fuel tanks. You can see how much fuel is in there. Same way with the bar oil. You can rock that around there. You can see how much bar oil is in there. It's got the easy start setup from Echo. You can use the recoil rope handle for your caps to loosen them up. The caps are marked, one for gas, one for bar oil. It's got a nice wide open window here in your inertia activated chain brake handle. When you open it up, it's got a new air filter design. It's got a nice wall here to break up everything between the engine and the carburetor. So your the big pieces of dirt are going to be thrown out here by the fan. And then you get a little bit cleaner air coming to your air filter, so it's going to have a longer service life. They have a nice wall here on the top cover, and this black rubber plug is actually something you can remove in the really, really, really cold times when you're trying to use the chainsaw, and that'll let some heat come back through from the engine and keep your carburetor from freezing up. They have 3 anti-vibe springs on here. There's one here. There's 2 on the bottom. It comes with a 16-inch bar. That's the only option. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a 14 on it if you really wanted to, but a 16 is a really good size for this saw. You have dual bar nuts, side tension on the chain. Flip it up here, and you can see it has the clutch on the outside, and as we keep talking about in videos, that definitely helps with the gyroscopics of the saw because it moves the bar in closer to the center line of the saw and makes it more maneuverable and feel even lighter than it actually is. And when you've already got a very light chainsaw, this just makes a big difference overall between a chainsaw the same size with the bar moved out further to the outside. So this is again, I keep saying this is very similar to the 4510 from Echo, but a few little differences here and there. But the big thing is the power to weight ratio. And, as we said, you can definitely tell it's light. You see all these other good features here when you pick one up at the dealership and you look at it. But the first thing you got to question, just like with their CS-2511T, it's a lightweight saw, and it's like, well, how much power can this thing really have? Because it just doesn't feel like it's going to have any power just by picking it up because it's so lightweight. Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take this thing out here and we're going to try it out, and we're going to see what it can do. We have a couple logs that we want to try it out on. We're going to have a couple people try it and just try to get some feedback on it other than my own. And I'll give you a consensus report then after we all try it out and see what it can do. So we got a lightweight chainsaw. It's very maneuverable, and it's something that the average homeowner would look to buy. So we're going to start out doing average homeowner type stuff. We got a tree stump here, and these branches were growing out of it. We need to cut them back so we can get down to the stump to try to dig it out. And this saw, I mean, it worked great for this. Again, it's lightweight, It doesn't feel like you want to fall over because you're standing there holding it at a weird angle or anything like that. You can see here where I'm holding it off to the side because it's lightweight. I don't have to set it down. Lock the chain brake on, pull the branches out of the way, release the chain brake, and go back to work. So we can see here, I mean, obviously it's going to do this stuff. You know, it's 16-inch bar. Echo says it has the best power to weight ratio in its class. So this is just light work for it here. But again, this is the kind of stuff that the average homeowner would be doing. So we wanted to show you that it's definitely suited for doing this kind of work and definitely capable of doing this kind of work. And now we'll move on to cutting some bigger stuff and see how it handles that. Now, you might have noticed that the saw did bog down here a couple times in his first couple cuts. And that's because, number one, this is a brand new saw right out of the box and it's getting broken in. And number two was because I was leaning on it a little bit here and there. And that's something you don't really have to do with newer saws. They're made to just let them do the work. You know, the older saws, you get in that habit of trying to force them through the wood and they would cut a little bit faster. But newer saws with the newer cutting systems on them, the newer chains and bars and the torque curves and all that stuff, they're made to just let them do the work. You just hold it in place and let it run its course down through that log. So far, you can see that the CS-3510 has no problems doing all the stuff that you would expect that it should be able to do, like trimming that brush, cutting through something the size of a fallen limb from a storm. 16-inch bar on this saw. That log we were cutting there was roughly about 14 inches, so no problem for this saw to go through that. There's still a very big misconception out there about these newer models of chainsaws. People think because they feel that they're lightweight that they can't have any power. If it only has a 16-inch bar, it's only made for trimming little brush and stuff like that, like we showed you here so far in the video. If it has an 18-inch bar, well, it's a little bit better, but still not as good as a saw that would come with a 20-inch on it. That couldn't be further from the truth. You know, if you have a 20-inch bar on your saw and you have a log, from a huge tree, there's times where you're going to cut through there as far as you can, and you're going to have to roll it over and finish cutting it. It's the same thing with one of these saws here. Just because it has a 16-inch bar on it doesn't mean that it's not capable of cutting bigger stuff than what we've shown you so far. You just have to know how to do it and how to handle the saw. And again, if you just let the saw do the work and don't try to force it, it will have no problem cutting through bigger stuff than what we've just shown you in this video. Now, you don't have to just take our word for it that this saw is capable of cutting through bigger stuff than what we've shown you so far. And the reason why you don't have to take our word for it is because we're going to show you us cutting through some bigger stuff right now. So there you go. You can see that the new Echo CS-3510 with a 16-inch bar is capable of handling stuff other than just cutting through some brush and some small limbs here and there when you need to. If you have a big log like this down on the ground, you can use this saw to cut through it. You'll probably have to roll the log. We were able to get by without having to roll it because we already had this one up off the ground. You don't want to be running your bar and chain into the ground. So that's something you run into even if you have a bigger saw. There's times where you come across a log that is one that's too big that you can't even cut through it with a 20-inch bar without having to roll the log over. So if you're looking for a good, powerful, lightweight saw that you can get a lot of use of around the home and just doing a lot of trim work because it's not going to kill your back using it, this right here is a good option. That was the first thing that I noticed when we cut through these logs over and over and over again. It's just like if we were cutting up firewood and it's already on the ground. You make several cuts and you stand up and you feel that in your lower back. After running this CS-3510 over and over and over again, I felt nothing. Normally, if I'm running a bigger saw, cutting through bigger stuff like this, as soon as I stand up, I can feel it in my lower back. Everybody else that used this saw said the same thing. That's the first thing you notice is how lightweight it is. And if you make the cuts, while you're cutting it, you feel the power that it has, and it surprises you for the size of the saw. But then the next thing is when you stand back up, you realize, holy crap, my back's not killing me. I could cut a few more times yet, no problem. I still feel comfortable. So that's a huge selling point right there. Add that stuff to the fact that this thing has a very, very modest price tag for what you get, and all these features here that come on this saw. There's no reason to not check out a CS-3510 if you're in the market for a new chainsaw. This thing could serve a lot of purposes. It's up to you to decide what you would want to use it for and how you'd want to use it. But the big thing is use it the way it's intended to be used. Don't try to force it and jam it down through the log. Let it do the cutting at its own pace, and you will get much better results from this saw. And it will definitely be worth the investment. So I think that's going to about do it for our review here of the Echo CS-3510 chainsaw and showing you the features and benefits of it and what it can do. Next thing left for you to do is just go out to your local Echo dealer and check one out for yourself. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or need any more information here about the CS-3510, just leave a comment on this video and we'll try to answer it for you the best we can. Thanks for watching.